Welcome to
What?
Podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Aubriana.
I'm Alston.
And I'm Becca. Danny's visiting with his brother right now.
Okay, you guys, enough. I can't take it anymore.
I'm gonna cut you out!
I quit.
So this week we're talking about all things scary. Ghost stories, scary experiences, and everything in between.
As some people, if you've watched our podcast before, people know that Jason and I grew up together, even though our age is very different. So when we were young, we were very interested in, like, ghost stuff, seances, like, witchy stuff. Not that we were, like, Wiccans or anything like that.
Creepy Ouija boards, which I will never touch ever again.
Ever. We were just
What happens when you grow up in a small town.
Yeah. We also live in it's a mine town. Like, mining is such a big thing across the UP. So we know all the stories of, like, there literally was one of the biggest mine fires, like, close to, like, where we were growing up. Like, that was a huge thing. So we knew there was going to be, like, creepy stuff. Like, I have ghost stories from my house. Like, and our friend Tina actually, like...
Shout out, Tina!
Yeah, we love you, girl. Her house was very haunted growing up. So we used to do, like, literal seances. And we used to, like, joke when we would do them. Like, we didn't even take them seriously, even though that's a very serious thing. Like, now that we're adults...
I would literally be at the table saying, "You may use my body."
Yeah, literally. And then, like, someone would, like, fart in, like, a chair. And it'd be, like... So we were all sitting in different types of, like, kitchen chairs. And one was, like, a hard plastic, so it would, like, echo. Yeah. And they're like, "It was the chair." Like, just, like, the dumbest... But we would take it seriously enough where if we wanted to, like, contact somebody, we would have one of their possessions or, like, a picture of them. And we would literally, like, light candles in a circle and, like, hold hands and literally, like, chant stuff and, like, open the portal.
Like,
legitimately do this.
Incense,
like, and then we'd literally be, like, you literally were not allowed to, like, let go when the portal was open. Because we didn't want to let anything bad out. So, like, we did take it seriously in that aspect.
Yeah, like you always have to say goodbye or whatever.
Yeah, so
but
kind of.
Still told them they could use my body.
But I will say something that's kind of crazy is, like, now that we're doing a podcast, we're filming this. We also used to film our seances. This is going to show my age a little bit. We used to do it on VHS. So we would literally have, like, a VHS recorder recording our seances. And then we would do it, and then we'd, like, watch them back. And sometimes we wouldn't really have anything. So I remember one time when we did it, like a seance, one of our friends, like, they admitted to, like, they were bumping the table and, like, blowing on, like, the candle and stuff.
Like, trying to breathe through their nose to try to make the fire or the candle flicker.
Stuff like that. So, like, sometimes we really didn't believe it, but there is a few times that we actually, like, there was very scary things. So, like, one time, I don't know if this was, like, recently after one of her family members passed away. See, I'm not sure either, but I do remember we were filming it, and I remember we were all, like, sitting there, and it felt, like, very, like, weird during this, like, seance. Like, not that they weren't weird all the time. This one felt kind of weird. It's just, like, strong. I don't know how to explain it. If you've never done anything in, like, the, like, seance or, like, ghost hunting type thing. Yeah, spiritual. You don't really, I guess, can't understand the feeling. But I remember popping the VHS in, and we're just, like, sitting there, and all of a sudden, like, in the corner, like, a literal face just, like, slowly appeared. And Tina just started, like, bawling, dude, and her sister, because it was one of her family members, literally, and the entire time that we're just, like, joking, literally in this recording for this, Jason's sitting there being like, "You can use my body," and we're laughing and, like, whatever else before we even start, and this whole time this family member's face is just like, I remember it's kind of like greenish, like, it was so ghostly and so ghouly, but it wasn't, like, bad, like, you know, I don't know how to explain that.
But I didn't feel like we were in danger or, like, anything like that. Didn't seem evil. It
seemed like it was genuinely probably her.
That's so
or
scary.
that family member. I feel like it was genuinely that family member. Which is very, it literally, I have, like, goosebumps, like, thinking about it. Like, I remember, I think we all literally started crying because it was just, like, such an intense moment. And, like, that's, like, I don't care if anybody says they don't believe in ghosts or spirits, that's fine. I have experiences like that where it's, like, how can I not believe in something like that? It was, and it's not like, bone chilling where I was afraid. Like you said, it was just, like, whoa. So another instance of us recording a seance in person we heard a scream and it sounded like a little girl, and it's crazy because watching the video back, you saw all of us, like, our heads just like whipped, like every single one of us whipped towards like the front door of Tina's house. But then like in the video it was literally demonic.
Literally was demonic. It was scary.
Terrifying.
So I don't have any crazy seance stories because we were not allowed to do stuff like that. We weren't allowed to even watch wizard shows growing up.
My dad watches this. I'm not going to say he's going to be cool with the fact that we did that. We never told anybody we did.
The closest experience I have to doing something like that, oh my god.
Like ghost hunting?
Something like that is like saying Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times with my friends at a sleepover. But I will say our house was haunted growing up. My mom always said it was demons because there were bad energies in the house. Like, my mom's super Christian. So it was always like somebody is disobeying God and brought demons into our house. We didn't do a lot of that stuff, but we did have ghosts in our house. And I believe in ghosts. They're always everywhere. Like, they're very prominent and very prevalent. But growing up, I remember a couple stories that really stuck out to me. One was from my older brother. They had him and my oldest brother shared a room, and youngest brother all shared a room growing up. There was this, so they had their bedroom, and then there was the bathroom right off of their bedroom, so you had to walk through their bedroom to use the upstairs bathroom, which at the time, that was the only bathroom in our house. Anyway, there was a hole in the wall in between the bedroom and the bathroom, and
glory hole.
it was a large hole.
Yeah, it literally.
Like, you could watch somebody poop?
I bet it was.
No,
it didn't
you
go all
couldn't
the way
see in
through.
it. It was just
Oh.
through one side.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
It was
the
literally
whole-
like a foot by like 8 inches.
Yeah,
I don't think it was
wow.
a glory hole.
It didn't go all the way through to the bathroom. It was just on the bedroom side. And my brother saw a bird fly out of that hole.
Oh my god.
It wasn't a real bird, though.
Ew.
My mom called it a demon, but it was like a ghost.
A demon bird.
But this bird flew out of the hole in his room, and he freaked out.
Me too.
And my mom was like, oh, it's demons. And she prayed over the house. We used to live in this old house, and it was like, I mean, it wasn't terrible. I loved that house, honestly. But there was definitely a ghost there. Maybe a couple. One of them, I like walked out of my bedroom upstairs and was walking down the hall past my baby's room to the bathroom. And I walked into a body, and there was no one there. It was super weird. But when I was at work one night, because I used to work till 11 o'clock, my husband was going to the bathroom. The baby was inconsolable. So he was like, I have to put you in your swing and buckle you in and go to the bathroom. I can't wait anymore. So he buckles her in. He turned the swing on, went up to the bathroom, like made sure she was swinging, went up to the bathroom, and she was screaming. By the time he came down, she had stopped crying and the swing was off. We think it was the ghost, but there was like an old lady that used to live in the house we live in, and she died shortly before all of this weird stuff started happening. So we think she came home and was like taking care of our kids. It was super weird. My kids claim that their grandma who passed away a few years ago lives on our roof.
Ooh.
So, I don't know.
Kids see everything.
For real. Anna is the one that's like so in touch with her. She talks about her all the time. And she's like, oh, grandma's on our roof watching us. I'm like, oh,
She's a medium.
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be so cool.
A creepy story, like a creepy thing that happens to me all the time, and like you have witnessed this now that we live together. So we live in an apartment that it's a really old building, and it used to be a school way back in the day.
Yeah.
But then it got turned into apartment buildings forever, and then it kind of went downhill. Our landlord bought it, and he's been fixing it up. So ever since I was a kid, so when one of my grandfathers passed away, he was kind of like a jokester, and like I remember you weren't at our house at this point. I had 2 friends over, and I went to go check the mail, and like my parents were both at work, and I think my sister, this must have been like junior or senior year because my sister was graduated, and I went out there and I came back in and tried to go inside, and the door was locked, and I'm like, hello, and I like knocked, they're like, what? I'm like, unlock the door, and they came and it was literally locked. And that
Keep in mind, these aren't like the doors we have now where, I mean, not us, but like some people have where when they shut, they lock behind you. Mm-hmm. You have to physically lock these doors.
Yeah, and that's how my parents always have had doors like that, where you physically have to turn it. It doesn't just automatically lock. So I used to have to carry a key with me because I would have to get locked out and have to go through the basement window to get back in my house because I get locked out. So now that we've been living together, that never happened at our old house that we were renting, but we never got locked out, I don't think.
No.
But at this apartment, back in town again, we get locked out a good amount. I remember one time I literally, like, was knocking, and you're like, what? It's, like, the same thing. And I was like, dude, why would you lock the door on me? You're like, I didn't. And I was like, and he had to come unlock the door and let me in.
And it's always conveniently when you're, like, in a bad mood.
Yeah, and, like, one time I came back, I was really, like, I think we literally just got in a fight. And I go to open the door and it was locked, and I was like, are you kidding me? And it was just one of those things where I just get locked out of places.
Like, and I would own up to it if I was being petty and wanted to lock the doors.
Yeah, now I have a house key on my car keys, and I have an extra one. Our spare key is in our car because I always have to make sure we have a key in case. This apartment is pretty haunted. We sage a lot.
There was stuff that happened in our old house, just not the doors. But do you remember that one time I left and came back, and I went for a drive, and I came back and I talked to you for a second, and then I left again for whatever reason.
I think you forgot something at Walmart or something.
It was literally like a blizzard. All the windows were down, and the sunroof was open completely. And it literally, like, it was in the middle of winter. There's no reason I would have even, like, touched the sunroof. There's no, like, I had my dog in the car. There's no way she could have reached the button because it's, like, on the ceiling. And somehow all of those windows were open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this apartment now, I think the creepiest thing that... Well, things keep disappearing, which is very annoying, and I keep yelling into the abyss to give me my stuff back. And so I will say my keys showed up, but it was after 6 months. I lost a house key. I put my key down on, like, a shelf, and it was gone. And then all of a sudden he found it, like, 6 months later in a random basket.
What?
Like, completely the opposite, like, shelf away from where I originally put them down. And one time we're sitting on I think it was when we had our kitchen table closer to, like, the kitchen.
Is, yeah.
So we're sitting at the kitchen table chilling, and one of, like, our dogs are very spoiled. Especially, well, Nala has always been spoiled her whole life. she loves toys, so I always get them.
Specifically balls.
Yeah, they love, like, tennis balls. They love, like, soft toys, but, like, their tennis balls they love to, like, chase. So we have a few around our apartment. We're sitting there, and all of a sudden a ball just comes, like, rolling across our entire kitchen. Just literally all of a sudden just went rolling across. The dogs were not even in that room. We're sitting in the kitchen. Or we're sitting outside of the kitchen. Yeah, just a ball goes rolling through.
You should have a seance at your place.
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
We sage a lot.
I will say I'm not saying, this is, like, a disclaimer, I am not a medium. I am not, like, I don't, like, believe that I have any special, like, powers or anything like that. But I don't think it doesn't feel like a bad spirit living in our apartment or anything that's been following me around.
It's just playful.
Yeah, but I also am always on guard.
Whatever was at our old house, that felt weird. Something
Yeah,
was off
it was
about
weird.
that one.
But this is, like, lately when I'm in town again, like, it usually just feels playful, but I'm also always scared because, in my opinion, it could be, like, they could be acting like a good spirit or ghost to try to get you to allow them into your life. And then that could cause, it could be an evil spirit or, like, a demon, whatever you believe that to be, whatever the evil side or bad side is. And if you let them in because you're like, oh, you're just, like, being funny, like, I like jokes, that's when it can get dangerous. Like, I'm not trying to be possessed. I'm not trying to, like, allow spirits to, like, I'm already losing things. You don't need to start taking more. Like,
how do you
please.
let them in?
Well, a lot of it's just you start trusting them, and, like, you'll start, like welcoming them, interacting with them. You'll be like, oh, like, you can, that's so funny, like, you can welcome to my house, like,
if they push the ball to us, if we pushed it back,
like, I would just,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, like, when that ball thing happened, I instantly grabbed my sage, and I saged the entire apartment. Just because I don't trust any, like, I don't care. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
I wonder if that's why, because, like, so that lady passed away right before we started getting, like, encounters at our house, at our old house, and it was, like, the baby thing, and then all of a sudden, like, when I walked into somebody, I, like, reared back and went back to bed and was, like, freaked out, and then I don't think we had any experiences after that.
Maybe whatever it was realized, like, oh, damn, I scared them.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't expecting you to wake up or go to the bathroom or whatever.
I don't know if you all, right. I'm not sure if any of you believe in this too. Sometimes I think if it was the person that passed away in that house, I think sometimes people don't realize they died.
Well, I think so. She was at
That they passed away. I should say.
They put her son or daughter. I don't remember who was related out of our landlords, but they put her in an old folks' home, and because like the house we were living in was her house, and then they moved her, and she passed away there. And so in my head, I'm like, she came home.
Yeah. So maybe it could have been like that night was scary for you, and then she was like, oh my, like. Because you didn't react, you weren't like, she probably could have been like, oh my gosh, why are you in my house trying to talk to you? And you just went back to bed.
Right.
And maybe that was the realization. She's like, they can't see me. That is, I can't imagine walking down a hallway though and walking into a body.
Right.
Like, that's terrifying.
One other experience I had, I think in high school-ish age, it started, and my dad gave me my great-grandpa's guitar, and I used to wake up at like 5:30, like something, I don't know, would pull me out of sleep, and I would hear whistling, and usually like 6:30 is when my dad would start like getting up, so I texted my dad the first couple times I heard it, and I was like, are you like awake whistling? And the first day, like, he had gone in early to work, and he was like, no, I'm at work already, and I was like, what? And there's no way it could have been outside. Everybody else in the house was asleep. And I just kept hearing this whistling, like, almost every morning for a while. And eventually I just kind of, like, accepted it. And I didn't really think anything of it anymore. I was just like, okay, it's whistling. Like, I assumed it was a ghost. And then when I moved with my ex-girlfriend at the time, I brought my guitar with me, and that's the only thing that I could place that was in common with the house, because I didn't bring much with me. And I would hear that whistling every now and again there, too. It was the same tune. I don't know what it was, but it was the same tune, and I would hear it there, and I'm pretty sure it was great-grandpa, and he was, like, attached to that guitar.
So, one time, I was at home seeing everyone commenting on Facebook about how, oh my god, the Northern Lights are out. They're so pretty. So I'm just like, I never see them. So I'm going to go outside and try to find them. So I go across the street to a lot, and I'm looking up, because there's like a huge tree in my yard, so I have to like back up quite a ways. So I'm looking up, and I don't think I even really saw them. But I had like my light on my phone, like, to see where I was going, and I'm looking up, and like, I really don't see anything. And then I hear something, like, or kind of see something out of the corner of my eye, and then I'm just like, what the hell? And I kind of turn a little bit, and then I hear some really weird sound. I can't even describe it. Like, some weird sound. And then I look over a little more, and out of the corner of my eye, it's just some creepy skinny white thing just like jumps out of the way, and it's so creepy. So Jason doesn't go out at night ever.
Jason tried to go outdoors once.
Yeah.
And he saw the skinwalker.
I go outside, and that was enough for me. Never again.
Wait, I'm not even sure if you saw the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
But get attacked by a skinwalker.
I know. Like, I just wanted to see some pretty lights, and I just see a monster. Like, great.
Less paranormal. I am a woman, obviously.
You are?
You are?
You're just a girl.
But my Walmart trips, living in a small town, are like my freedom, my little break from my kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm always here with the kids. So I like to go to Walmart to go grocery shopping and whatever. And so one time I went to Walmart, and it was supposed to be a relaxing trip, even though Walmart's not quite the version of relaxing I would like.
Walmart!
But it gets me away from the kids, and it gets me a 10-minute drive with music. So it is what it is. But anyway, so I'm in Walmart, and I'm just doing my shopping, and then this guy on a scooter, like one of the little scooters with the carts, comes up behind me, and I'm like, no big deal. He starts talking to me about something, and I was like, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. But I'm always like extra aware in public, because I've always been paranoid, especially since I had my second daughter. And so
You also got stalked in Walmart as a child.
Yes, I did get stalked in Walmart as a child, and the guy that was stalking me went to a worker and asked what size underwear he would buy for a child around
Ew!
8 to 10.
And he touched your butt.
He touched my butt.
And our older sister's butt.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah. Probably would have gotten abducted if I didn't go and find my mom. But anyway.
Ew.
Walmart. Trauma. So this guy, you know, he comes up to me on that scooter. At that point, I didn't think he was coming up to me. I thought he was shopping where I was looking for, I think I was in the juice aisle. And anyway, so I walk away from him because I'm stranger danger, you know, my hackles are raised. I walk away, go to the next aisle, and he's in the next aisle. And I'm like, okay, you talked to me in the first aisle, now you're in this aisle. So I turn around, go to the next aisle, and he's in that aisle. And I'm like, what is happening? So I walk past him, go all the way back to like the pop aisle, which is 2 or 3 aisles back. Go down there, turn around, and he's behind me again. So I'm like calling my husband, trying to FaceTime him. You know, always get on the phone with somebody when you feel like you're being followed. My husband wouldn't answer. The one time I need my husband to answer the phone, he won't answer the phone. And I'm being followed in Walmart by some guy on a scooter. And I feel, in my personal opinion, the scooter was to make him look more innocent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he's on a scooter, what's he gonna do? But he's following me to every aisle. So I jump 2 aisles while dialing my husband continuously, and I turn around and this guy's behind me again.
Ew.
And at this point, like, he has nothing in his cart. It's not a coincidence that he keeps popping up in the same aisle as me with nothing in his cart. So I went to the checkout. I can't remember if I checked out or not, to be honest with you, or if I just left.
I think you did, because I remember you saying, you asking us to take you grocery shopping because you only got half your groceries.
Yeah, you got half
yeah.
the list because you only made it through half of the store.
So yeah, at that point I had checked out, left, and went home. Honestly, like, that's not even the only experience. I walk around in Walmart with my keys between my fingers. And again, we live in a really small town. So the fact that that can happen here is crazy. But it's also not surprising. And that's why I'm thankful that I'm on high alert. But, like, living with a ball of anxiety about what people's intentions are is exhausting. But yeah, that's like one of my scary stories, I guess.
That's scary as
I know. Imagine though, like, you see these videos of people tagging your cars and
right.
putting money on your cars or notes on your windshield.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been like, I get in my car and lock my doors instantly.
Right. Me too.
And then I leave. I'm like, no, we're not gonna have this today.
So there was this one time when I was living in Lansing, and we were in, I think, a Meijer parking lot, and my sister and her boyfriend at the time had to be so secretive and go get without me and leave me in the car at 2 a.m. I'm just sitting there on my phone, death scrolling or something, and all of a sudden, all 4 doors of the car open, and 4 guys just jump in the car, and they start shaking me, and they're like, "Give me everything you have! Give me your money! Give me your money!" And it was so scary. And then they just all started laughing and left and drove off in their car.
What the
And I literally just didn't know what to do, and I just started crying.
Oh my god.
And then when my sister and her boyfriend got back, I told them, and they just laughed at me.
That's not funny. That's
No.
scary.
That's terrifying.
I literally didn't sleep for like almost 2 weeks because I was so scared to fall asleep because I thought that was going to happen.
PTSD every
Literally.
time driving at night.
Literally, it was so scary.
I don't know how they could laugh at you. So yeah, getting carjacked is not fun. And I definitely teased this in the first episode. But I lived in Chicago for 9 years, and moving from a small town to there, it made me more hyper aware. Like, I usually was very on everything, but I lived in a very safe neighborhood when I first moved there, so I didn't have to worry as much. Like, I could park like 2 or 3 blocks away from my apartment and walk there, and I never had any issues. Like, the first, practically, I think it was 7 or 8 years that I lived there, I had not one issue. I never was like, I mean, other than the random, like, homeless person who bothers you or, like, may follow you for a little bit, but they're harmless. They're not going to do anything. They didn't follow me into my apartment. So I ended up moving into my own apartment after my roommate at the time and I just, like, his boyfriend was moving in, and I was like, yep, I'm going to get my own place. So I got my own apartment, and it was in a little bit farther west from where I was living. And this was during COVID, so I was not working at the time. Like I was still waiting to get called back to go to my job, and it was coming. Like we were slowly opening the restaurant back up where I was working. It was just the beginning of things opening again after we all had to like stay in the house. So I was getting paid and like through like the unemployment and everything, so I could still like live and like buy everything, and we were still hanging out in like small groups. So I was hanging out at my friend's house, which was like way out west. So there was a little group of us. I think it was about 6 of us, maybe 8 that would hang out. And we went over to our one friend's house, which is pretty far out west. And I was usually the driver because I don't drink a lot. And I didn't drink a lot back then either. And so I would usually drive, so I would have to go pick everybody up and then drop everybody off. So I would get home later than everybody else. So I dropped everybody off, and I remember dropping my one friend off who literally only lived a couple blocks north from me. And I was like, all right, I'll text y'all when I get home. And I pull up and get a parking spot really close to my apartment. Like I literally could cross the street, and that was my apartment building. I just had to turn around the corner and walk like maybe a quarter of a block to get to my front door. And I'm in there and I literally texted everybody, like, made it home as I'm sitting in my car, which is number one, if you ever live in a city and it is 4 a.m., don't ever do that. Text your friends when you're in your house. So I see a car pull up and I'm like, uh-oh. And I was like, okay, I had the decision of, should I start my car back up and just drive off, or should I try to get in my apartment really quick? And I was like, I can make it my apartment. Like, it's not even far, right? But I forget that there was an alley that you could like loop back around and get back really quickly to where my apartment was. So I crossed the street and I had literally a Coach bag on my because I literally had my Coach backpack, everything. And this car squeals up and they stop. And I hear all the doors open. I'm like, like I literally was like, I'm so scared. Scary. Like I have goosebumps thinking about it. And I think it was 3 guys, but the 2 really tall guys walked up to me. They had their face covers, and they I don't know if they had a weapon, but they had their hands, and they're like, give me your keys, give me your keys. And I was just like, I need to get my house key off of it. I was like, you can have my car keys, but I need to get my house key off or else I'm stuck outside, bro. And he's like, hurry the up. So I just literally, I'm like, because my apartment building had a camera too, so this literally was recorded. Like, I saw this happen. And I'm literally just like, and I handed my keys, and they just like took off. They went to my car, and y'all, my car was on E. My gas light was on. And I'm like, dude, like I have my bag. I had my wallet. I had cash. Everything in this bag. I had a knife. Everything was in my bag. And I'm just like, my phone is in my pocket. And they take the keys and run, and I'm like, walk. Like I was like, walk. So if you have an iPhone, you can hold like the 2 buttons on the side and it'll start dialing 911. So I turned the corner with the house key in one hand, dialing 911 in my pocket with the other. And on the camera, you see this, as soon as I turn the corner, my phone slips out of my pocket and goes up to my ear. And I literally like get in my apartment building and they like whip by, they like drove by. And I was connected to 911 when I walked in my door. And it was like crazy. It's like, I'm literally like, it's so like, I literally was like, they're like, 911, what's your emergency? And I was literally like, I just got carjacked. And they're like, what? And I was just like, people just stole my car from me. But I'm safe. I'm literally in my apartment building. Like, I'm in my apartment. I was like, and they're like, okay. And then I had to give them my location. And it literally, living in the city was nice because it took like 5 seconds for the police officers to show up. But yeah, that was terrifying. And I had to go to a police station and like, literally they had to record me because again it was COVID, so they weren't doing court cases. Like I probably would have had to go to court if this was like a normal like not COVID time, but I had to go and give my statement. It was really scary because this was like, they found I thought my car was done, because usually if you get carjacked, especially in a city, like your car is gone, like you're not gonna get it back. They're gonna find it like burned, stripped, whatever. So in my head, I'm like, wow, I haven't even paid this car off, and now I'm never gonna see it again. And I'm like, wow, this is like a lot of my like life that I put into that. That's how I got to work. That's how I worked out of the city, so I couldn't really like, I could take a bus, but like it's hard in that aspect. So then 2 days later, I get a call from the detective who was on my case, or like the police, and they found it. They literally like ran my plate because these kids who stole my car were selling drugs with my car. Oh my god. And they just so happened to run the plate because they watched this kid jump out and like sell and get back in. And they ran my plate and it came up stolen. So that's how I got my car back. It was 2 days later. And I had to go to the police station and wait and give my statement. I was there for 6 hours. And they came up to me at one point and they were like, please sit still, keep your mask on. We're about to bring in the parents of the kids. Because they were going up, because the kids were in, like, above, like how
children.
Yeah, it was an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 15-year-old who took my car. They were living out of it. When I got it back, there was ashes everywhere. There was feet prints on the ceiling. There was underwear in my car. There was socks. Like, it smelled like dirty boys and like gross. It was disgusting. And I had to go. It was in such a scary part of the West Side that the police officers, when we pulled up to the parking lot where it was surrounded by police officers, and we had to get escorted. We got escorted there and escorted out of that west side of the city. And we're driving there, and the guy is like, yeah, we literally, like, we solved a over here the other day. And we're driving past, and there's all these cop cars. He's like, yeah, someone just got over there. And I'm like, you're bringing me to my car 2 days after I got carjacked,
like, why
and
are
you're
you
telling
not bringing
me
it to the station?
Yeah, I had to pick it up where they got it.
That's so stupid.
Apparently.
You would think they would bring it to the station and be like, here's your car.
Yeah.
Or like a repo area.
It was like a tow lot in this part of town is what it was.
Okay.
But like, it was like just a basic parking lot. But we pulled up and they were literally like, okay, so we want you to go through, check if they took anything. Like, and it was so annoying because they threw all my registration, like everything out the window, but they kept like the dumbest like they kept like all of like my like jackets and like blankets I had in the back of the car, but like threw away the registration, like threw out like just like it was so annoying. I had to like replace everything. I had to get my car like completely detailed. But before we get out of the car, he's like, okay, I need you to go through your car, but you're gonna have to go through it quickly. Oh yeah, they said go through it quickly because we need to get out of here pretty quickly, pretty much. And they were like, and when you get in your car, instantly lock it and do not look at anybody, just follow the police officer out. So yeah, that is literally, and then I had to deal with like them calling me. I had to deal with detectives showing up to my house to like explain exactly where it happened and explain how I crossed the street and explain like everything. And then I also had to like send in the video. I had to like contact my landlord and have them like look through the footage and like send me the footage. Yeah, and I ended up moving out of that apartment like a month later because I just like every time I literally like,
well, they know where you live now.
That's exact, and I feel like it was like a gang type of thing. And I'm like, cool, I got like 3 gang members locked up. The other sad thing, I guess I should say, I feel as though I'm very lucky. My main thing, like when I called my parents, like everyone was just like so shocked. And like I was just like, all I could say is like, I'm so glad I'm alive. Like, because I didn't know what was gonna happen. I don't know if they had like a weapon. So like I got a call later from like, because they were like starting to do the sentencing, and it was like my lawyer, I guess is what it is, or like representative for court. And he's like, hi, so like I'm just calling to see, like, I don't remember if they wanted to give the boys like 7 years or something. And they're like, so it seems really harsh, but it's because before they took your car, they stole an old lady's car and they beat her up. They were like, literally found her like on the ground. And I'm pretty sure it's crazy because they rolled up to steal my I had a Honda HRV, y'all. They stole it. They had a Range Rover. They pulled up with a Range Rover and took my HRV.
What?
So I'm pretty sure that Range Rover was that old lady's.
Oh my god.
So, and that was a big thing, like in Chicago after COVID, like carjacking was huge.
Was the old lady like, is
She was she was okay, but they beat her up too,
Weren't-
because I'm sure she didn't want to give her keys and stuff.
Weren't the Kia boys in Chicago?
I'm not sure. But yeah, that's my fun Chicago story. Be safe. Please be aware. Do not text people your home until you get inside. Get inside your home safely. Don't pull up and linger in your car.
If you have an uneasy feeling, just do a lap or 2.
Right, I should have pulled off because then I wouldn't have had to deal with it.
But if you're dropping a friend off, stay outside and make sure your friend gets in safely.
Till that door is shut.
Mm-hmm.
You
Even
do
if
not
you
leave.
have to go creep in their window and stare at them.
We live
Like
in
he
this,
does for me, apparently.
I was gonna say, we live in this small town, and like even when we drop Jason off, like I literally sit there with the lights on his deck until he gets in.
I'm just like, thank God, even though I know
As soon as
nothing's
your
gonna
door
happen.
like opens, we're like, okay, we can go.
Jason.
Pretend I am here.
Okay, you can go. She's lame.
You just called your baby lame.
She's like, I'm gonna eat this wall.
Now she's eating the walls. She's so lame.
So one creepy thing that I used to deal with, actually I go through phases of it. It's really creepy, but when I lived in my old apartment, I went through a phase that lasted at least like 2 months where it was just sleep paralysis. I would be woken up by like something over my head just making a creepy noise, like like some weird. It was so scary, and I'd wake up and I'd just be like petrified. I'd just be paralyzed. That's the word. Well, both of them. But I just could not move for like at least a minute. It was so scary. And then every now and then I go through like phases of it, and I'm just not about it.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm not down with that bullshit.
Yeah, I used to deal with that a lot like years ago though. I haven't had it in forever, but I never heard noises like that. Mine was always like I would all of a sudden like be conscious, but it'd feel like somebody was just like holding my body down, and like it's like almost like a panic attack, like I couldn't breathe, and I'd literally have to like be like, okay, you're gonna like fight, you have to start moving like one part of your body, and like once you move it then you'll be awake. So I'd literally, it's like felt like you're climbing up a mountain, like just to move your arm. So I'd be like, okay, and I'd like move my arm and I'd be like and I'd like come away, like wake up, and then I'd have to like get up and like walk around and like try to like wake up a little, because like I was so bad at one point that if I'd fall right back asleep, I'd fall right back into that like panic attack. Like I don't know if it's just because like I'd hit this like part in my REM cycle, and maybe my brain was trying to like vivid dream. I don't know if anybody knows about that. I can't do that as far as I know. So I haven't dealt with sleep paralysis in a second, or dreams or nightmares.
But also my sleep paralysis when I lived in my apartment was like 12 years ago. So just saying.
Yeah, when he was 9 years old, he lived in his own apartment.
Yeah, when I was 9 years old.
I don't have a lot of crazy dreams anymore. I will say though, if I'm reading a book before I fall asleep, I dream about what happens next in that book.
Oh.
It's really strange. I've had some strange dreams over the years. When I was in Washington, I had some nightmares. Like when you're pregnant, I was pregnant. And I didn't know at the time, but I do now know that I was pregnant when I was having these dreams where you get really intense dreams. And I was having nightmares that I was being crushed by rose thorns. Giant rose thorns, mind you. And a giant boulder, and Danny had to wake me up because I was screaming in my sleep. But as a kid, this happened on 2 different occasions. So, when I was a kid, at our old house, we only had 2 bedrooms before we built like an addition on. So we slept in a room with 4 people. I slept on the bottom bunk with one of my sisters. He slept on the top bunk with our other sister. And so I shared a bed with my sister, and I had this dream that I was having a peeing contest with a sumo wrestler.
Oh God.
Why a sumo wrestler?
Oh no.
Probably watching some weird shit on TV.
And I woke up and had peed the bed.
I was gonna say you totally yourself, didn't
Yeah.
you?
And then the other dream I had was giant spiders were like taking over the world, and I was running away from a giant spider, and I got in the house, got the doors shut, went like had everyone run around, lock all the windows, thinking that would stop me, but he just crushed through the roof of the house, and I woke up and wet the bed again.
You peed twice?
It wasn't the same night.
Oh.
She woke up, I peed again.
There was one night that I threw up, moved to the floor, threw up again, all over the floor.
While you were sleeping?
I don't know. I probably woke up. And then my mom woke up and was mad at me because I puked.
Because that's your fault.
Yeah, apparently. Apparently I
dare
can
you
control
get
when I'm
sick.
sick. One time I had the flu, and I was at my dad's house, so like I have a different dad than him. My mom is married to his dad, but I went and saw my dad every weekend. And I was at my dad's house and I got the flu, and it was coming out of both ends, you guys. So I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm like, oh God, I have to puke. What can I use? My brother had a Darth Vader mask. And I grabbed the Darth Vader mask, and that was my puke bucket. I didn't tell him that until Halloween this year.
And he was like,
His
what the
face, he
fuck?
was like, oh.
But then I went back to my mom's house, and I was walking upstairs, and I puked, going up the stairs, and my stepdad made me clean it up.
Moving back to giant spiders.
hate spiders.
Me too.
So I had this dream about giant spiders when I was a kid, and it literally was like these huge spiders that were big enough to stand over our house.
Ew.
And for some reason
It's like Harry Potter spiders.
I had to leave the house, and it was just giant spiders chasing me through the woods. And I was telling you about it because I woke up crying, and you told me it wasn't real, and then I just copied your giant spider dream.
It's so strange though because like that's my dream too, but like mine, I went to the house. We were in the school playground when they showed up, and I ran home, and he had to leave our house.
But it probably was you told him the story and then you dreamed it the next night
Yeah.
or within the next whatever.
But I literally, like, that was so traumatizing. You're like, that wasn't real. I was like crying because you were the only one that woke up when I was crying, and you're just like, you just went back to bed because it wasn't real.
Being siblings is like...
Hey, that's okay. When we did not get along. We used to have pinching wars, and one of us would always pinch too hard, and then we would just beat each other up.
And then eventually one of us would get too hurt and go tattle them all.
Then we had to
Wow.
stand in separate corners of the room.
Did you have to do that
Oh,
creepy
wow.
thing with like the Blair Witch Project where you're in the corner and you have to like stare
Yeah.
to the wall?
Yeah.
Are you
Wait,
serious?
really?
So we stood diagonal from each other. I'd be in one corner staring at the wall. He'd be in the other staring at the wall. He used to steal my camera. My dad bought me a camera. It was this little purple camera. He stole my camera and kept recording himself singing, and I was getting so irritated because I'd be looking for my camera and he would have it in Dad's room. And so one day I got so mad at him that I uploaded one of his singing videos to my Facebook.
Mean girl. She's a
My dad called me when I was getting ready to go to a party one night, and he's like, "Hey, Bean says you're on your way to a party." And I was like, "No. Why would he tell you that?"
I also want to know why I was the household tattletale and everybody kept telling me
They're like, you know who we should go talk to. Oh my god, I had this
Sean-
crisis. Bean!
Shock Pikachu face when mom finds out.
How could mom find out?
Hey Tattletale, I'm going to this party later.
Hey, make sure you don't tell dad that I'm gonna go party tonight in the bush.
One time, I don't even care if I out her name. One time Tasha came up to me at school when she was a senior. She was in ops class. When I told her this, she was like, I did that. She was so ashamed of it.
Hi, Tasha.
But
I don't know you, Tasha, but
Yes,
hi.
you do?
You know
Who?
Tasha, she's been to the parties here before.
Just kidding. I know you, Tasha.
She watches the pod. Hi, Tasha.
Hi, Tasha.
But one time she came up to me at school when I was a freshman and you guys were seniors, and she was like, "Did you see Op's Snap story?" And I was like, "No." And apparently you had a private story that I couldn't see.
Because it was supposed to be private.
And Tasha came and showed me you smoking cigarettes, and I went and told my parents. And I told Tasha that. She was like, I did that?
You know, the one good thing about being in the good graces of my mom, she didn't call me. I don't think it was that she didn't believe it. She just didn't call me on it.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm just gonna believe that.
Do you think, yeah, leave in the comments, y'all, what else you want to hear from us, though.
For shizzle. Getting back on the topic of my mother, who I'm no contact with. I had a dream about her when I was probably like 8 years old that spurred into this deep fear of bridges. And basically, there was like construction on the bridge, and there was like this hole that was probably like 2 by 2 feet. And for whatever reason, we pulled over on the bridge, and she fell through it.
Like her person?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
she got out and just, like, fell through the
I don't
hole.
remember how she fell through, but like I was so scared I would cry. Like I don't think I would ever make it noticeable. I would just like sob quietly in the back seat of the minivan every time we crossed the bridge.
And even to this day, like, I have to drive across all bridges.
I do the Mackinac.
To Duluth.
No,
Like, he will know
fuck
Duluth
that.
bridges. Because it's like,
I
all of
literally-
them going into...
Okay, you guys, enough. I can't take it anymore.
I'm gonna cut you out.
I quit. I have to pee.
Okay.
I remember when you were pregnant with Ansley still, and I let out this tiny fart in the car, and it smelled so bad, and you're like, Jesus!
Small but deadly.
The other day, I was having silent farts all day, you know, so I like didn't think anything of it. I just let one out. It was so loud.
You're like all day, like, and then I was like.
But the craziest part is Aria rips the biggest farts I've ever heard. So Danny instantly looked at her.
Blamed it on you?
On her.
Oh.
And I was like, I could have gotten away with it, but I started cracking up.
Throwing your child under the bus.
He's probably like, dang, Aria, and you're like,
Oh my god.
What did Aria do?
Aria was just like, huh? You guys, in case you weren't aware, you can find us on Spotify Podcasts, and soon, hopefully this week, we will be on Apple Podcasts as well. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for that. We would love to have you join if you guys are more of a listen and not watch kind of person. The videos are pretty funny, but you can get most of the effect from the audio as well. So if you guys need something to watch at work, make sure you hit up What Podcast on Spotify.
and listening.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of my mixie. I need another one.
Alright, then shut the fuck up so I can talk.
All right, we're shutting up.
All right. Let's do this.
Thanks for tuning into What Podcast.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and make sure you share with your friends.
Peace out.
What?
I feel like I'm at school doing a presentation.
You're like, hey everybody.